Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to our channel, and thanks for logging on. If you enjoy these videos, do me a favor and subscribe to our YouTube channel right here at Watchbox Reviews. I would really appreciate it, and I promise to update daily. If you love this watch, you can see it and you can purchase it on our website, thewatchbox.com. Now you can see in the wide shot, proportionally, the Zenith Chronomaster El Primero in steel is gorgeous, 42 millimeters in stainless on my 16 centimeter circumference wrist. This is an easy watch to wear. It's full-sized but not oversized, at 42 millimeters in diameter and 50.6 millimeters from point to point, lug to lug. I would recommend this watch for a wrist as small as 14.5 centimeters circumference. The watch isn't thick, 13 millimeters thick with a stepped case flank and a little bit of a kick up from the bezel to the crystal means you'll absolutely be able to wear this watch with a dress shirt cuff. And the spacing between the lugs, a contemporary 21 millimeters, giving the watch a modern look on the wrist, even as it borrows some of the finest vintage cues about its dial. Now, the timepiece is nicely finished. As you can see, it's simple but strong. The case featuring polished flanks, slightly concave as they bow inward from the bezel down to the case back, and there's a handsome squared off mirror finish to the edge of the lug with a small transitional bevel along the flank and satin finished hoods. What looks like a Nato strap is in fact not. It's a handsome and silken textile strap, far smoother and more flexible than most Natos. You can see it features an interesting grayscale gradient from black to gray with this sort of silver gray in between and a light contrasting red binding stitch. Same on the bottom. You can see it's a little bit of a finer textile for souplesse against the skin. It's not a Nato. It lets you see the case back of your watch, and it doesn't stack underneath the case the way a Nato can, because the way a Nato interacts with the spring bars, it often adds 2, 3, even 4 millimeters to the thickness of the case, depending on how it piles up. Here you get the look of a Nato, but you get none of the visibility penalty relative to the movement or thickness on the wrist. Moreover, the watch features a conventional stainless steel deploying clasp. You can see it's all of high polish, it's trigger actuated, it's a double folding clasp, very secure and deluxe. You generally don't see deploying clasps with textile straps. Zenith unconventionally pairing the two together, giving you a tremendous amount of value, comfort, and a handsome look with the strap rugged and cut down, but with the security that comes with a deployant clasp on the wrist while donning or removing at bedside. One of the features that I love most about this watch is the loft of the box section sapphire. As you can see, it has a little bit of a curvature in a box section, a 90-degree kick from the top to the edge. That's expensive to do. Whenever you see a cambered that is domed sapphire, you know that money was spent. Whenever you see a domed sapphire with a box section profile, you know that considerable money was spent. The two features together, highly desirable and handsome, with a little bit of the off-axis loft of a vintage plexiglass. And that is part of the idea here. As you can see, the 1969 Charter Zenith El Primero dials from the likes of the A384, A386, A385 series, a handsome and dramatic blue sunburst radiating out from the center, a broad panoply of colors, textures, tones, materials, and planes. You can see outboard there are applique faceted and polished hour indices, both blackened and loomed. There will be a loom shot, overlapping registers for the chronograph, again in grayscale at center. And note how the anthracite, silver, and the gray perfectly match the tritone of the stripe on the strap. Now jumping back, you can see that there is a tachymeter outboard for gauging the speed of an object in conjunction with chronograph operation. All the sub-registers are on a different plane than the metallic center dial, and outboard there's a handsome silver track for minutes as well as seconds, with a white on blue print for fractions of seconds. You'll note the Zenith Star logo is the counterweight to the red varnished seconds hand. Turn it all over, you can see vintage inspired pump pushers and Zenith Star logo on the crown. And the case back, one of the highlights of the watch, Zenith El Primero caliber 400, going strong since 1969, the world's first integrated high beat automatic chronograph caliber, 10 beats per second then and now, 36,000 vibrations per hour, 31 joules, bidirectional automatic winding, 52-hour power reserve, a column wheel with a vertical clutch, or excuse me, lateral clutch, and you can see that lateral clutch in action as the lateral moves away from and into contact with the chronograph driving wheel. And the El Primero is a broad and open chronograph. Though it's an automatic chrono, it doesn't obscure the works underneath an oversized winding bridge and apparatus. You can see the column wheel interacting with its levers and horns and benefiting from the crisp operation that comes with a column wheel. And when you withdraw the lateral clutch from interaction with the driving wheel at center, you can actually recenter and watch the hard cams fall, or rather the hammers fall on the hard cams. All of this 100 meters water resistant. You can note some of the distinctive finishing traditions of Zenith as you have a combination of blackened, or black polished I should say, and blued screws. You have polished screws and blued screws. The Blued screws are used for adjustment of mechanism, that is timing of the watch and meshing of the chronograph functions, and the polished screws are used for physical assembly. You'll also note Zenith often using perlage or engine turning on bridges rather than the base plate. A handsome movement, a visible movement, and a classic movement. The timepiece, one of Zenith's modern marvels, a wonderful melding of modern fit finishing materials with vintage styling cues that have already fit the test of time, and a full-sized case that is likely to look fantastic on modern wrists and to modern eyes without losing the grace and timeless qualities of previous Zenith references. You can see this one and make it yours on the watch box. Zenith Chronomaster El Primero, as you can see, plenty of lume by night.